Okay, so this is section 8.7, angles formed by chords, secants, and tangents. So with our first part of notes, we are doing interior intersections. So if two secants or two chords intersect inside a circle, so notice how this is not at the center, then the measure of the angle formed is equal to half the sum of the measures of the intercepted arcs. So for angle 1, that is equal to measure of arc CD plus the measure of arc, AD plus the measure of arc BC. So those two arc measures, add them up, and then we're going to divide by 2. When we are trying to find angle 2, now we do the arcs across from that. So across from angle 2 is AB, and we also have CD. So we're going to take those two arc measures, add them together, divide by 2. So that is what we're going to do in numbers 1 through 3. So in number 1, we are looking at AED. That's this angle right here. So we're going to take our two arc measures, so AD and BC, add them together. So 109 plus 45, and then divide by 2. So add them together, divide by 2, we get 77 degrees. Next, on number 2, we have the measure of YWX. So that's this angle right here. Well, we don't have the chord measures for this, but what we do have the measures for is for this angle. And what we know about our two angles, YWX and ZWX, is that those are supplementary. So if we can find this angle right here, we'll be able to find the answer that we want. So we can do 81 plus 43 divide by 2, and we get 62. So in our circle, this angle right here is 62 degrees. Now that we have that angle, we know that, boom, if they make a straight line, they're supplementary. So 180 minus 62, we get 118. So the measure of angle YWX is 118 degrees. Number 3, this time around we are looking for an arc measure. So we're looking for the measure of CDE. So CDE is this arc right here, and I'm going to call that arc X. So using our formula, we know that our angle measure, 128, is equal to half of our two arc measures added together. So 73 plus X. And whenever we have this 1/2 in front, so if you looked at our algebra review, to get rid of that 1/2, remember we just times both sides of our equation by 2. So the 1/2 and the 2, they basically cancel each other out. Okay, so we end up getting 256 equal to 73 plus X. Now we can subtract 73 from both sides. So we get X is equal to 183. So the measure of arc CDE is 183 degrees. On the intersection of circles, on the circle intersection, if a secant and a tangent intersect at the point of tangent C, then the measure of each angle formed is equal to half the measure of the intercepted arc. So angle 1 is equal to half of arc AB, and angle 2 is equal to half of arc BCA, those measures. So in number 4, if we want to try to find angle DEG, that's this angle in here, we are going to just take half of arc EHG, so half of 308, which gives us 154 degrees for that angle. Okay, and next we want to find the measure of XY. So the measure of arc XY, that's this arc right here. Well, we're given 151. So we can actually find this arc right here. So we know that 151 is going to be double that arc measure. So for XZY, that whole arc is actually 302 degrees for this whole outside. So we can find the arc measure by just taking 360 minus 302. We get that measure of arc XY to be 58 degrees. Okay, flip the page. So exterior intersections. So if secants or tangents intersect on the exterior of a circle, so the outside, then the measure of the angles formed is equal to half the distance of the intercepted arcs. So in angle A, that measure is equal to half of CE minus the measure of BD. So this time we're subtracting. The formulas above we were adding. This time we're subtracting. So we're going to take CE minus BD, then divide by 2. Same thing for A over here. This angle A, we're going to be taking the arc measure of BD minus BC, and then take half. And same thing for our last circle. So the measure of angle A is equal to BDC minus BC, so the outer minus the inner, and then divide by 2. So that's what we're going to be doing on these problems. So there's the formulas. I'm going to zoom in. So for KLM, that's this angle in here, we're going to be taking, oops, guess I didn't want to zoom in. Be taking half of 140 minus 66. So put that in your calculator. 140 minus 66 divided by 2. We end up getting 37. So our angle for KLM is 37 degrees. Okay. Number 7. So we have two tangent lines. So we're going to be taking our PSR minus PR. So first we need to find PR. So we're going to do 360 minus 313. And that is going to give us 47. So in here is 47, this little arc. Now we can do our formula. So half of 313 minus 47 is going to give us 133 degrees for our angle PQR. Number 8, so we need to find the measure of our arc SW. So we're going to do what we did on problem, like how we did number 3, where we have to put in, we can call SW X. So this arc measure, let's just call that X. So we know that 40 degrees is equal to 1/2 of X minus 75. So to get rid of our 1/2, we just can do the opposite. So instead of dividing by 2, we can multiply both sides by 2. The 1/2 and the 2 will cancel each other out. So we are left with 80 equal to X minus 75. Add 75 to both sides. And we get X is equal to 155. So our arc measure for SW is 155 degrees. Okay, number 9, again, we are looking for an arc measure. So I'm going to call this, again, x for this arc measure in here. So using our formula, we know that 56 is equal to 1/2 of 160 minus x. So get rid of that 1/2 first. So we're going to multiply by 2 on both sides. So the 1/2 and 2 cancel each other out. So we are left with 112 equal to 160 minus x. So we can minus 112 from both sides. Oh, sorry. Minus 160 from both sides. So we get negative 48 equal to negative x. Now we don't want that negative in there, so we can actually divide by a -1 to get our x to be positive. So we get x equals positive 48. So the measure of arc MK is 48 degrees. Oh, and that is 8.8. So that is it for notes today.